Yo, what is up, everybody? So, yeah, working on the car still. That's nice. That's always fun. But now we got Xander by, and we got Nick by Jones up in here. Right now, what we're doing is just trying to open the engine. If you may.
Open the engine.
All right, let me restart. Yo, what is up, everybody? So, a couple of updates for you guys. We're on, I'd say, about the 4th day of actually working on it, so still in one video, but we got a couple of updates with Engineer Sob right here.
What's up, everybody? So I'm gonna go ahead and do a little technical breakdown for you guys on the car and what we've done. I think we should start, it's safe to say we start with electrical and how we go from there. So when we got the car, there was no battery, so this whole portion was missing. Went ahead and put a new battery in there, and then we found out there was no starter. So I think in one of the earlier videos you guys saw Nick put a new starter in, but actually they didn't have to buy a new starter. They found the stock starter underneath the passenger seat. So went ahead and wired that up. That actually, you need to wire the starter in to get the all the other electronics working. So once we got that, most electrical work was intact. This was missing, so I actually went ahead and pulled it off my Datsun and put the one that I took off from my car on here, so that works too. And the wires were kind of short, so we actually had to do a little, cross threading. We just put some wires together and extend the line so we could get it out here. Bulbs, I went ahead and put my old Datsun light bulbs on here because they were just old and beat up on this car, so we got a nice brighter look. Taillights already worked, radio works now, speakers work. Hazards don't work, cigarette lighter doesn't work, but indicators work, so the basics work. What is it? License plate lights, they work too now, so that's good too. Other than that, the big portion of everything is just the engine. So I'm gonna talk a little about the engine, stuff like that. Obviously you can see we've got like wheels off and stuff. When you press the clutch down, it's super squishy, so we're really not getting any pressure, no punch back. If you're getting any punch back from the clutch, it's just a spring. So we did a little investigation. We probably had to change out the slave cylinder. So we got a new slave cylinder, took out the stock one. The lines are literally empty, we're just filled with air, so they need to be bled as well. And that's for the clutch and the slave cylinder. So that should be slowly worked on in a couple of days. Aside from the slave cylinder, working really big on the engine part right here. So obviously you can see I've taken the valve cover off. The valve cover is sitting over there. So what we did was that we were 100% sure that this engine was seized. We actually took the fan off and the radiator off. And this is a 27mm hex nut, so we went ahead and tried to go in there with a breaker bar and manually turn it. If these belts all spin, that means the engine's broken loose, and you can go ahead and try to start it. Unfortunately, nothing is turning, so that just goes to show that this engine is seized. So first thing, Nick and the other guys, I think you saw in the other videos, they went ahead and took all the spark plugs out and put the transmission fluid in there, automatic transmission fluid inside. So went ahead and took the spark plugs out, did that, drained the oil, put a new oil filter on. Haven't put any new oil in yet. We're not gonna do it until we can make sure that this engine actually, can spin and stuff. So I was doing a little search on the forums, and it made sense to go ahead and take, it was like a recommendation that since while you're doing this, you might as well take the valve cover off and go ahead and put fluid on the cam as well. So this is a single cam engine. So went ahead and put the transmission fluid as well as that little can over there. That's just a spray I got from AutoZone. I was recommended to put it in for seized engines. It breaks down rust and stuff. So the guy, this is before we took out the valve cover, the guy was telling me that there might be rust inside the engine. And then I went ahead and I did some investigative reasoning and took off the valve cover, and the cam is completely rusted out. So you can see all this right here is all rusted. So I hit it with the spray, I hit it with more of the transmission fluid. We're gonna hope things spin in a couple of days. I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he was telling me that it'll probably spin. We'll probably get everything broken loose. But the thing is, you won't have things like internals might not be in check. You might have compression that's off. The engine's not gonna run properly. So we're waiting. We had to let the fluid sit for 2 to 3, maybe 4 days before we can actually try again. In the meantime, I did take the valve cover off, so D is gonna go ahead and work on the valve cover, sand that down, make it all nice and shiny. You want to get it shiny like this metal right here. So that's just gonna take a bunch of sanding to make it look nice and pretty. And in the meantime, while this is exposed and we don't have a hood, I've been just covering this with a big piece of wood over the whole engine bay to make sure dust and bugs don't get inside. Hoping that we can salvage as much as we can. So that's where we really are at right now with the engine. We're gonna hope in the next couple of days this thing spins so we can get it running, or at least try to.
The next day.
Yo, what is up, everybody? So, day whatever it is, I stopped counting. Three.
It's 4. You're
Three?
on Friday. It's 4.
According to your channel, it's 3.
I don't pay attention to days anymore. I do episodes. But anyways, what's up? How we doing? That's great. All right, over here we got Nick Bai. Say hi, Nick Bai.
Okay.
We got Xander Bai.
Hi.
What's up? What's up? So we got a lot of work ahead of us, especially engine work. What are we doing with the engine right now?
So we're trying to get it to turn over.
We're trying to get it to turn over. Why are we trying to get it to turn over?
Because it sees.
Because it sees.
It's not moving. So we're trying to get it to move.
Engines are supposed to
Okay.
move, this one's not. So in order to get it to move,
Okay.
you just...
It's not moving.
No, it's just tightening the bolt.
Yeah, still. You want to put some weight back there or right here or something?
I'm trying to like watch the chain to see if it moves.
No,
the
it's not moving.
slightest.
It's not moving at all. The bolt is, but the chain's not.
This might be a problem.
Okay. So put wheels on it, put it on the ground, put it in gear, and just rock it back and forth.
Yep.
So if the engine doesn't turn, we might have to rebuild something,
Cool.
which is going to be a problem because I do not want to have to rebuild an engine. But we will see. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So quick update: we're going to try to turn the engine. Right, Nick? Bye. Is that the car person turn? All right. Yeah. We're trying to turn the engine, but it wasn't working with the wrench, so we gotta put the tires on. Lucky for us, Xander hooked us up with some nice wheels.
Miata wheels.
Miata wheels, and we're gonna try to turn it from that. So we'll see if it works. If it works, that's great, and we might be able to get it running. Actually, no, we will not get it running. Why is that? Because there's no fuel tank on the car. We figured that out today. There's no fuel tank on the car, unfortunately. We did go
on
on.
missing fuel tank.
I didn't know where the fuel tank went.
Inspecting for missing parts.
But yeah, so we contacted the dude. We contacted the old guy, and turns out he never even noticed that there was no fuel tank. But so we're gonna have to make a couple of phone calls, a couple of emails. Just look online to see if we can find another gas tank to put in, and then once we do, we'll be on to the next step. So after some time, we were able to put some tires on the car, unjack it. Basically what we're gonna do now is we're gonna try to turn the engine, or open the engine if you may, by just rocking it back and forth because we couldn't crank it from there. So we're gonna have to overall just move it back and forth. We'll see what happens.
Okay, push it again.
And yeah. Yo, what is up, everybody? So today is Friday. Basically 3 days since we started sanding down the valve cover. Let's take a quick look at how it looks. So overall coming pretty nicely. So the reason it's taking so long is because you want to take breaks. One, because it's tiring, and two, you can really mess up your hands and whatnot, and it just gets ugly, it starts hurting, it's bad. So you want to take your time with it. We're only on step two or three of like 6 or 7, and overall it's coming out pretty nicely. Still got a lot of work to do, so I'm excited to see how it all turns out. As for the engine, like we had said, the engine did not turn, unfortunately. So odds are we will probably need a rebuild. Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. Unfortunately, that's just how the cookie crumbles. However, I decided, might as well make the best of the situation. So we're gonna take the engine out, then we're gonna send it to the engine people, or wherever they are, mechanics, whatever. And and they're gonna fix the engine. They're gonna rebuild the engine. And while they're doing that, we're gonna take the car to the paint place, the body shop, if you may, whatever, and they're gonna repaint it. And that gives them an opportunity to basically paint the inside of the engine bay as well to make it match this. Obviously, as you can see, they did not do it that time, as why it is a different brown than the one that it is right now, because the guy who had it before we had it repainted his car. A little darker brown. Again, not a fan of the brown. That being said, thought I'd work on something else in the meantime. So what else did I have to work on? I honestly got a bit tired of, gasiting that thing. So what else was it to do? Again, I figured out what that was. So if you can remember in my past videos, we talked about how, one, the trunk didn't open. And when we got it from the guy, he himself said that it didn't open. We didn't know why. We had no idea why. Honestly, we had thought that it had gotten jammed. Because honestly, if you looked at it when it was closed, it did look like it was a bit jammed. So we knew we had to do something. So the last video, my brother and I had actually opened it up. We opened up the trunk. The trunk, I'm blanking out. We opened up the trunk and we saw that it was gonna get jammed again if we let it close. We put some WD-40 right there to make it a little smoother when it closes and opens. Again, not that smooth, but a lot smoother than before. And yeah, so we did that. And honestly, I thought that maybe some glue got stuck as to why it was being jammed. And honestly, I couldn't be farther from the truth because it was actually a mechanical problem. We're gonna talk about that now. So, I decided to do some troubleshooting. Again, as you can see, not smooth at all, but a lot better than what it was before. Decided to do some troubleshooting, and I had unscrewed these things. Basically, this is the locking mechanism. It attaches to this to basically close and lock. You have to push this thing right here to make it unlock, but only if the key is horizontal, which allows you to unlock it when you push down. It's an auto lock system basically. So I took this out and honestly it was just rusty. So I thought maybe the rust was just causing it not to move. So sanded it down, used some WD-40, got it a little cleaner, whatnot. Obviously it did wonders, not gonna lie, but that wasn't even the problem. That wasn't the problem. Basically, the problem was, if you can see, this happens to be a little to the left as compared to this. And the thing you have to push down on this was on the right side of this. So basically, if you can tell what I'm saying, this was not making contact with this. So overall, I understood as to why it wasn't unlocking. It had nothing to do with this, it had nothing to do with this, it had nothing to do with that. There literally was no contact between this and that, so it made sense as to why nothing was working. Now the next step was figuring out how to make that contact. Again, this part's thing that you have to push down is on the right side, here, roughly here. This is here, and it goes straight down. So there was something I was missing. Either they built this wrong, or we're missing a part. Honestly, at first I thought they built this wrong and I had a rare car. That was my thought. I was wrong because I looked online and I noticed that they all look like this. So I decided to look at how a locking mechanism right here, the cylinder locks. Maybe we were missing a part. And honestly, realized we were missing a part. What was that part? It was a thing I'll show you right here. It's like this right here. Basically, when you turn the key, it moves here to here, here to here, like a windshield wiper. Basically, lock, unlock. Such is the same with this right here. So, what was I gonna do? I had to find something that would work, or I had to buy a new cylinder. I looked into that, I really did. It seemed like an easy thing to do. Looked into it, and it was $100. Now, that's not cheap, one. And two, there's literally no opening here. There's no way to put in screws and whatnot. It's literally in the frame. So I had to make what I had work. What did I do? I basically tried to make that windshield wiper thing, we're gonna call it that, the mechanism, and basically try to make my own. So that's what I tried to do. Overall, it did not work. I tried with this and it would not work. One, because it didn't fit, and two, I realized that the metal had to be a strong one because, again, it's getting pushed by this strong metal into this strong metal, right? And so if this one's strong, you need that thing to be strong, right? You need some takat and all that sort of stuff. So I'm looking around this table, not knowing what to do, and I stumble upon a part. It looked very old, so you could tell it was from the Datsun, and it was just a very strong metal. Not only that, but there was a hole in there. There's a hole in the thingy thing, like this thing. There's a hole. There's a hole in there, and it fits that right there. That part, the cylinder, the inside of the cylinder, it fit. I realized that was the piece because I looked online on how that locking, windshield wiper worked, and it was that. That was it. Only question is, how do I put it on there? So, small hole here, there's a small hole here. I basically have to slide it into place, right? And it fit. However, how was it gonna stay? There literally was nothing to let it stay, so it just keep falling the moment you let go. I looked back at this windshield wiper, right here, this guy, and I saw that there was a screw here keeping this in place, a screw and a washer. Luckily I found a small screw that wasn't being used, and I noticed that it fit. However, it did not fit on the piece that was missing that I had found right there, the strong metal, the windshield wiper, if you may. It would just go straight through, so I realized I need a washer. Luckily I found a washer. Great. Now, next challenge was, how do I put that thing on? Because again, I can't hold everything. The moment I let go of the windshield wiper, it falls down. On top of that, my fingers aren't that skinny that I can just put the screw in. It got hard. It literally was not fitting. Like it was a mess. It's been an hour, a frustrating hour of just trying to, put that thing on there. It was not working at all. Very, very frustrating. Luckily for me, I have a magnetic grabber. So basically, if you drop that screw, if you drop it, and you can't find it, right? You can't find it. If you can't find the screw, you take the magnetic thing, and you put it to a screw, okay? And it picks up screw. So I thought maybe I can use that to put it into place. Again, the whole body is magnetic, right? So it literally stuck to everything, but I was able to control it and put it into place. So that's great. It stayed in place. However, now there was no pressure to keep the windshield wiper up. So it kept falling. So I had to think out of the box. Took a little thingy thing here, right here, slid that into a hole right there, in there, basically propping the windshield wiper up. Meanwhile, I was able to screw the screw in. Again, for a screw you need a screwdriver, right? But there's no way to put a screwdriver in. That hole was literally too small and it didn't line up. It was over here and it wasn't like straight up, so we couldn't use a screwdriver. Which, makes me think that there needs to be something out there that's like a gun type of thing, gun-shaped thing, where it's just like you press the trigger and it literally screws on the side. Maybe somebody should try that. I don't know. Just giving you an idea. But so I had to screw with my finger, and honestly, it hurt. It hurt a lot. But I had to keep doing it, and I had to keep going because, man, I was determined. Today, I was determined to make this truck work, and I knew what I had to do, so I did it. Why? Because it was in my dill, It was in my dill. My dill right here, and here, this dill too, both dills. And so, I knew I had to do it. So, screwed it in. It hurt? Yeah. After a while, it didn't screw in more. So, what did I do? I had to put on a rubber glove and just keep going and going, and eventually it worked. Eventually I was able to keep it in there, and yeah, so it stayed up. It kept the windshield wiper up too, and yeah, so thought I'd try it. So I wanted to try it without actually putting it on this, because if I put it on this and it doesn't work, it's stuck, right? So we had to simulate it. I took a pencil around the same thickness as that right there, and you get to lock it. So we locked it in place right there. As you can see, it's locked. So right now the windshield wiper is not making contact with that part of the lock. So when you push it down, it won't do anything. That's kind of like the auto lock of this car. It's pretty nice. So with that being said, I twisted it again, simulated it with a pencil, and it's not working. Why is that? I'm gonna tell you why. So, one thing I noticed is that this thing right here, there's something off about it, right? So it has to be sitting perfectly for this thing to work. Because as you can see, it's not turning completely. It stops. Why? Because this is blocking it. So that's why this is a bit unscrewed here, because the moment you screw it in completely, it blocks that completely. So, kind of had to rearrange it. And there it is. Now it's in place, right? So, push it down, it unlocks. It's beautiful. It truly is. And yeah, that's basically how I single-handedly brought a trunk back to life without spending any extra money. Just using the mug, my dill, both dills again, and just went to work. You know, I feel like mechanic, I feel like engineer style, but I'm not engineer style. I'm better. And I'm vlogging. So I want to show you guys how it will work on this. Again, I talked about how the screws have to be loose and whatnot, so did a couple of rearrangements, and yeah, so made it a little tighter, and so it won't move as much, so it should be in good position. Let's close it. I'm going to show you how it looks like this. So, locked again. Hit this button, and it is unlocked. So, that is how it's looking. Overall, it's nice. It's very nice. Still got work to do. Obviously, still got work to do. But it is what it is. Like I said, we're making progress, and honestly, it has been a week today since we got it. So that's pretty cool. We got it last Friday. It is currently Friday. We made some progress. A lot of progress within the week. So like I said, the guy before us couldn't even open the trunk. He didn't know what to do. We have successfully opened it and fixed it. So yeah, we're making a lot of progress, and sanded down the valve cover. A lot of work, putting in a lot of work, and honestly, it's paying off. It's gonna pay off. I know for sure it's gonna pay off. I'm optimistic about it, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to basically seeing how it all turns out, and I hope you are too. That being said, this vlog is over. You can leave now. I made you stay. You can leave now. And yeah, you have my Ashirvad. And just drink pani. Drink some pani. And eat your roti with saag. Not too much namak. I care about you and your BP. And yeah, thanks for watching.